was in May of 1958 that I had one of those days that I hope all of us experience now and then. A day when, as if topping a ridge, a newly expanded world spreads out before us, full of things undreamed of. And I've never forgotten it. I was living in the Adirondacks, and I'd just been fired from a carpenter's job for pretending competence, which I did not yet possess. But I'd immediately been rehired as a laborer at a mysterious place called Up to the Lakes. Bill Brough, a grizzled old guide with a sort of a Ronald Coleman mustache, and an impeccable green Jeep. He was going to be my new boss. Bring your underwear and some extra socks, he said, and a frock coat, your toothbrush, and a rain jacket. We ain't coming out till next week. You ain't got to worry about food. There's plenty of that up to camp. Bill and I loaded his Jeep and his trailer with bags of concrete mix and shingles. A few miles out of the village, we let ourselves through a locked gate and drove several miles on a private dirt road that followed a crystalline little river. Finally, we topped a rise and started down the other side, and that's when it happened. A long lake stretched ahead of us between cliffs of solid granite. Below us stood a big boathouse, clapboarded, with a wide dock. We pulled up and got out. Go get us the big gray boat on the bottom tier, the old man said. No, he said, wait a minute. You ain't never been here before. Let me show you. He opened up the door, and there before us stood one of the wonders of the modern world. 3 tiers of priceless old wooden Adirondack guideboats. He might as well have opened King Tut's tomb. The boats were arranged by owners. Many families had 3, one above the other, in their family color. You ever row one of these? He could tell I hadn't. Well, let's load this one up. You can learn right now. But by God, boy, watch your knuckles. The oar handles, they cross in the middle. I don't want you crippled up before we even get there. Well, I could hardly believe how that boat, loaded with Bill and me, several squares of shingles, our packs, and some fresh groceries, just slid through the water. The long oars flexed as I pulled. They sucked and they snapped straight at the end of each stroke. In about half an hour, Bill was conning me through the rocks of the inlet, and we unloaded at the start of the 1-mile portage into the next lake, where there were more boats. For the next year, those boats were an essential part of my new world. We used them as transportation, like pickup trucks, but they were far more than that. They were as much a part of that pristine wilderness as the deer that stopped to watch us pass. I had a favorite boat, of course, and was always trying to beat my best time for rowing the length of the lake. And then it ended. I got married, went back to school, moved away, started raising a family. My wife and I went back one more time and took a belated honeymoon in one of Bill's old boats. I never got over wanting a guideboat of my own. Trouble was, simply couldn't afford it. Then, just about a year ago, I was at a small boat show, and there it was, a gleaming, varnished guideboat hanging in a pair of slings. I just stood there, gazing like a kid at Joe DiMaggio and his wife all at once. The builder saw me staring and asked, you ever seen one of these before? Yes, I said, I have. Take her for a spin, he said. Well, I don't sit down on a 4-inch high seat quite as easy as I used to, but once I got in, I remembered it just like that. The flexible oars, the leap forward with the first stroke, the water going by so fast that I thought, I've been waiting 40 years to get one of these. I haven't got the time to make one myself. This guy makes them right here in Vermont. I don't have any money to speak of, probably never will, but in just a few years, I'll be too old and sick and stupid to handle one of these things. The time, I thought, has come. A couple months later, I scraped up the deposit. 9 months after that, the boat builder rumbled up my driveway with my boat. And here it is. It's painted the way the originals were back in the 1800s. Got a curved seat back for fishing that folds down if you want to go fast. Took me 3 days before I dared to move it. During that time, I made a padded roof rack to carry down my truck and a slope dock for launching it. And finally, I took it out for the first time. Well, it's like fishing from an armchair. It's lighter than a small canoe. It just darts from place to place. And at rest, it rocks gently from side to side when I cast. The seat of my pants is just about at water level, so the trout come splashing to the net right beside me. It's a marriage of two art forms, consummated in the most beautiful of settings. And I got to tell you, it's a constant lesson to me, too. If you've got a beautiful dream, don't, by God, wait till it's too late. You'll be a long time gone, you know.